What you're watching right now are fireworks in the middle of the night being shot at a residential building, a building that, of course, the mayor of this city, Portland, resides in, along with close to another 100 other individuals who live in this apartment complex that also had a small fire started inside of it.
Fire extinguishers!
And I think we can all agree, a lot of people don't like the overly pandering far-left mayor of Portland, but to start a fire in a residential building by a group that is known for burning stuff down, burning other buildings down, is something that is worth noting, right? But it's not. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of wearechange.org. We got a lot of things to get into, especially white Hispanic race soldiers that we actually have an exclusive comment from Tariq about, along with other updates about the civil conflict unfolding right now in the streets of major American cities. We're also going to be talking about the latest, very surprising news surrounding Joe Rogan and the latest censorship efforts by Spotify, his new exclusive platform that he is working on. And if we have time, there's also a lot of very important economic news that is worth mentioning and will have a tremendous impact on our social political landscape. And as the mainstream media pretty much parrots and pushes fake narratives, propaganda, and disinformation, you could only really depend on independent media, the same independent media that is also being heavily censored, shadow banned, and now is 100% demonetized, like the very channel that you're watching right now. And because of that, we're working with sponsors that we personally like. One of them is safepreparedandready.com. This is a company that I've been working with for a number of years now. I really like them. I like the food that they provide. Yes, it does have a lot of sodium. Yes, there are some shipping delays. But recently, this is something that I started buying myself out of precaution. And it made me remember that I have a partnership deal with them that helps also sustain this independent media organization. Again, this is pretty much premium stuff. If you're looking for survival food, a bag of rice and beans will do, but if you're looking for something extra, safepreparedandready.com storable food is for you. Check out the link down below, since it's a product that I like and personally use myself. Now, back to the Civil War unfolding on America's major cities, we of course have the latest update after a shooting in Los Angeles that again is being played up to push racial tensions by the mainstream media, to garner more protests, more civil unrest, and to of course push the wider divide and conquer agenda that has been so prevalent in 2020. There was a little bit of looting in relation to this news. It is important to note that the man shot during this incident was hiding a handgun. He did decide to run away from police officers. He's also accused of punching one of the police officers, and yet this is another unfortunate violent incident that sadly politicians will use towards their own personal benefit. Yet another tragedy exploited, and before the body was even cold, many people have already made up their minds about exactly what happened, even without knowing any of the details or any of the facts surrounding this case. Tariq Nasheed, a self-proclaimed race baiter, proclaimed on Twitter to his close to 250,000 followers that this was a, quote, white Hispanic race soldier that shot and killed a black man in the back today, which prompted me to call him an idiot. And then he responded with some generalized mumbo jumbo that had completely nothing to do with the subject of my criticism. I asked him again to clarify what the fuck specifically is a white Hispanic race soldier. Maybe Tariq conducted some kind of DNA test. Maybe he became some brilliant scholar and developed a new kind of race theory. And then he blamed everything on me and quote, my people, which prompted me to respond, Polish people? The fuck did Polish people do to you, Tariq? Seriously, just when you think things can get more bizarre, we're here. And as Thomas Sowell correctly points out, he says, quote, black voters matter to many politicians more so than black lives. That is why such politicians must try to keep black voters fearful, angry, and resentful. Racial harmony would be a political disaster for such politicians. end quote. And he is absolutely correct on his current analysis of the situation that, again, will continue to get out of hand as long as we have establishment figures, politicians, the mainstream media, and multinational corporations parading behind a protest movement that it either obfuscates, obscures, or even sometimes promotes the use of violence with. All of this for, of course, political gain. It's getting out of hand when we have a violent mob. That violent mob only knows one thing, and it is violence. It is growing, it is expanding, and it needs to be stopped at all costs, because soon it will engulf this nation fully from a point that it could never go back from. And again, this is not just Portland, this is not just Los Angeles, this is not just Washington, D.C., this is nationwide property destruction, violence unfolding in the streets right now, all because of this, quote, political movement that has seen many tragic, violent events that, of course, people will never take responsibility for. Violence is like a flame. It will spread. It will catch fire. It will affect everyone. Meanwhile, the real issues of actual slavery, like in Libya, in Saudi Arabia, in China, actual prejudice, actual actions that have a severe effect on someone's life, well, those actions are, of course, forgotten and never talked about, as we're seeing horrible images coming out of Saudi Arabia showing thousands of Africans dying in detention camps in that country. Screw me, but, getting rid of Aunt Jemima on pancake syrup and this issue, there seems to be a big disparity about actually what frickin' matters. And how can you not get mad when there's such censorship and obfuscation of the actual truth? Which brings me to the next point, and that's the latest news that we're seeing from Joe Rogan, as we're seeing his start and relationship with Spotify begin in a very rocky way, where we are seeing Spotify outright censoring a number of Joe Rogan podcasts that were supposed to be transferred to its platform, mostly controversial videos and podcasts that included the likes of Gavin McInnes, Alex Jones, Sargon Avocad, and other individuals that are not transferred over to the platform. And if you remember Joe Rogan's original announcement to his deal with Spotify, he promised that, of course, this wouldn't happen, even though Spotify has a record of, by the way, censoring a lot of speech.
Everybody, I have an announcement. The podcast is moving to Spotify. I signed a multi-year licensing agreement with Spotify that will start on September 1st. Starting on September 1st, the entire JRE library will be available on Spotify as well as all the other platforms. Then somewhere around the end of the year, it will become
There's some even prophesizing that this deal with Spotify is some sort of soft exit of Joe Rogan and his career, which of course is a theory. It hasn't been proven, but it could potentially explain what could be happening here. The original reaction by many Joe Rogan fans to the news was met with a lot of skepticism. To many, the decision felt rushed. A lot of people downvoted and disliked this move by Joe Rogan and were skeptical of it, and rightfully so, as we're seeing major, epic, very important podcasts just being deleted from the record and not transferred to the exclusive platform that Joe Rogan soon will only be doing podcasts on. Now, Joe Rogan said that this specific censorship would not happen. He still has not released an official statement about exactly what's going on here. We, of course, are all waiting in anticipation, since, of course, a large fan base of his is largely big supporters of free speech. Now, the video that I played at the beginning of this segment that's titled The Demise of Joe Rogan actually provides a very interesting theory, with, of course, some superficial evidence suggesting that Joe Rogan is kind of uncomfortable with the vast amount of power he has, and that this might potentially be an attempt for him to become less significant. Again, lots of speculations, lots of rumor mills, and we will only know the truth, well, hopefully, when, of course, we hear from Joe Rogan about this very important topic, which matters to a lot of his fan base. Now, just quickly jumping into the financial economic news, I should do a video just on this particular topic alone. Let me know if you're interested in that in itself, but there's a lot of things happening in the financial world that you should seriously consider when looking at the future because of very big draconian government moves this year. Not because of an illness. People need to understand this. not because of a sickness, but because of government. We had lockdowns and complete shutdowns of economies that will be having severe ramifications on everyone. We are seeing those ramifications in India, in Brazil. Some analysts have described what is happening as a, quote, shock to the world's top economies. But magically, here in the United States, everything is hunky-dory. Yes, I'm not kidding you. Massive layoffs, shutdowns of entire retail sectors, massive unemployment, businesses, restaurants, theaters, comedy shows never coming back again. But somehow the stock market is doing incredible. How in the world is that possible? And the way it's possible is because the U.S. Federal Reserve is literally pumping billions of dollars into the economy, enriching the billionaire class. Some people have called this strategy the no billionaire left behind strategy, and that's exactly as it should be described, as we're seeing an incredible transfer of wealth by the U.S. Federal Reserve to the hands of private sectors, which is an extremely dangerous move since, of course, this creates a weaker dollar and also sets the stage for hyperinflation that we have seen all throughout the world already. When you look at the basic cost of living, whether with education, medical reasons, or housing, we're seeing average day people being hammered. Meanwhile, the super rich elite class is benefiting from one of the largest cons in our modern day society. Again, the stock market shouldn't be at record all-time highs when we have record waves of bankruptcies. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. The pain because of these lockdowns, these shutdowns, the larger economic ramifications that doesn't benefit everyone and only the billionaire class is something to extremely look at as we're seeing the effects and ramifications slowly and surely play out in real life effects. Again, one of the reasons why I started to purchase more storable food today, but that's, again, just my own personal decision of why I decided to do that. There's a lot of human suffering. There's a lot of institutions responsible for it. Those same institutions are, by the way, are supporting a protest movement that literally want you fighting each other because of the color of your skin, because of your DNA, because of the way that you were born. And to that, I say, hell no. People trying to engage you in this nonsense deserved to be laughed at, ridiculed, and never taken seriously again. I am sick and tired of the actual racism and discrimination that is happening all throughout this country. It needs to stop, and it will once the people realize exactly what is going on. I might be too optimistic, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below, and most importantly, share this video with your friends and family members. Seriously, if you don't do this, I won't exist as an independent media organization. Only you getting this video out there gets it out there. We've been, again, at a standstill with YouTube for a number of years now. Your support is more crucial than ever, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.